Good morning. Happy Monday. It's time for some book talks. I only managed to complete 2 books this last week. One of them was an audiobook called Jepp, Who Defied the Stars. There's a lot of talk about destiny and whether your future is predetermined or whether you can change your destiny. Also, a lot of talk about astrology. The main character is named Jepp, and he is a dwarf. He grows up in kind of a inn tavern with his mother, and through his experiences there, he picks up a couple different languages. He learns about the world from the travelers that come through, and one person comes through who offers him a position at the court of the Spanish Infanta, a royal figure who brings dwarves to her palace basically for her own entertainment purposes. He's not really quite sure what he's got himself into. Once he gets there, it's not nearly as fun as he'd been kind of led to believe. There's lots of whining and dining and entertainment, but he is often the entertainment, being poked fun at. I think when he first gets there, they enclose him in a pie, and that's how he's presented to the Infanta, is that he bursts out of a pie. So it's a little bit humiliating at times. And I'm not going to tell you everything about the story because then you wouldn't have any incentive to read it. I'll probably buy it for our print collection here, but we won't get it until the fall, so maybe you'll remember by then that you wanted to read this historical fiction about this dwarf. It goes back and forth. I will tell you this, it goes back and forth between his time at Coudenberg, which is where the Infanta is. It goes back and forth between that time and him being transported by a kidnapper to another location. Okay, so part of the time he's in a carriage and he doesn't know where he's going, and then part of the time he's remembering these experiences with the other dwarves at Coudenberg. So back and forth, but it does move very quickly, and I found it very interesting. It's not like anything else I've read before, and that's always a good thing for me. The other book that I read was March Book 3, and I've talked about March Book 1 and March Book 2. March Book 3 starts with the bombing of a church in Birmingham in 1963, in which 4 children were killed, and that was in response to the civil rights movement, in response to African Americans trying to actually get to vote. 15th Amendment guaranteed the right to vote, but yet there were still lots of things happening, particularly in the South, in Alabama, specifically Mississippi, places like that, to actually prevent people from being able to exercise that right. People who tried to register to vote could lose their job, they could have their house burnt to the ground, they could be attacked, killed, all sorts of things could happen if you were to try to actually get the vote. So in this book, they go through the events of Freedom Summer in 1964, in which activists came down to the South and were trying to register people to vote. They describe instances in which they lined up outside the courthouse, and maybe, there would be maybe 50, 60, 100 people there, and only 2 or 3 of them would get in and then be denied the ability to register to vote. It's really, I feel like, very important to read this particular graphic novel and books like this right now, because the Voting Rights Act that was passed in 1965 was revisited by the Supreme Court in 2013, and a lot of the protections were taken out. Okay, that's something that doesn't make sense to me. Why are we not trying to guarantee everyone the right to vote in America? But it's important to go back and revisit the work that was done to secure these rights and ensure that people actually have access to the rights that they're supposed to be granted. But anyway, like I said, I felt like it was very important. People did really risk death and injury to secure these rights. So check it out. John Lewis, March Book 3, very powerful stuff. That's all I have for you this week. I'm going to try to read a little bit more this week. We've got a long weekend coming up for Good Friday and Easter, so maybe I'll get an extra book in. I just got to sit down and do it, put down my phone, and read some books. So if you have any questions for us, just let us know. Otherwise, I'll see you on Thursday with Jepp.